Hi, this is Angelica. Long time no video. As you can see from the title, I'm going to be talking very briefly about just my experience applying for the CIR, the Coordinator for International Relations position for the JET program. I wasn't planning on originally making this video because I felt like there were a lot of, or like enough information online, and there's like a bunch of forums, you can look through Reddit about just the whole application process for the JET program, whether it's ALT or CIR in general. I don't know, I didn't think I could contribute anything more than what people already have been so far on the interwebs. But literally just like one person commented on one of my videos before, and they're like, can you make a video on how to, like, you know, like any suggestions and advice you have for the whole application process for CIRs? And I was like, oh, yeah, should I? Like, is that something I should do? So here we are. I didn't really plan out my thoughts very well, but yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. So this is just a disclaimer that I applied for the JET program in 2017, which was 2 years ago, for the 2018 year intake. So I don't know if my information is outdated at all, but if it is, I very much apologize. But then again, I don't think the information I'm giving is going to be like super specific to any year or whatever, as far as I know. So hopefully it'll be useful. Let's see, obviously I don't know what the whole process is for every country. I applied in the United States, in Seattle. I went through that consulate. So but this is just like how my thought process on, so basically what I was thinking as I was going through the application and writing my personal statement and all of that. So if you have any more specific ideas, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I'll try to like answer it, just type it out as best as I can. But and just to like give you guys some more information about the whole application process in general, if you're new to the whole JET program CIR thing, I've listed like a couple websites. So one from Tofugu that I think is like pretty popular. Everyone kind of like pretty much goes through that website first, but there's a whole series on, like, I don't know, like a guide for literally every step of the JET program experience. And even as an ALT, like lesson planning, I think they have some of those, or like what to do if you're placed in a school that you don't like and stuff like that. But they really just run through every single step and what you should expect out of the application, like timeline too. That really helped me. So just like read through that first, get yourself, you know, in the game. I know there's only a month left until the application is due, so maybe you already have read it, but if you haven't, I advise you to really start there. Know what to expect from the whole process. It's not a short one. It's pretty tedious. There's a lot of stuff you need to do within the next month or so, but just get yourself ready mentally for that as well. So, and then I linked another website. I think this one's more CIR specific. I think like a lot of the resources I found last year for ALTs, geared towards ALTs, were very helpful for me in general still, because like even though the CIR job position is different, essentially we're still applying to the same program as ALTs. And so I feel like it's not as much as like the process itself that changes, it's just the mindset and how we convey like your thoughts and your ideas and your dreams for this, you know, like going into this program. It's just how you convey it that's different. It's not the actual application process itself, if that makes any sense at all. So I still advise you to go through the ALT resources, and I linked one video from Jacob. He's an ALT in Osaka or Kobe, I have no idea, but he came in the same year as I did. So I've never met him, but he's pretty fun. He makes really fun videos about just everyday life in Japan. I think he used to be a videographer back in back in his home country. So I advise you to check that out. That's like one of the more recent videos that I found online about just applying for the JET program. And if we're gonna get into finally like the actual application process, something that Jacob mentioned in his video that I thought was really like useful, and it really hit home for me, was like you should really familiarize yourself with the whole vision of the JET program. Like, as an organization, what is it that they're trying to do by hiring all of these foreigners to come teach English in Japan, or work in a local government office in Japan. So familiarize yourself, so really get to know like the goal of the JET program, and then really find deep within yourself like what is your goal and what are the things that you hope to do as a participant of this program, and really just focus on how to make those two align, you know. And I just felt like that was so important, because I guess any job application in general, you have to really convince the people hiring you why you are the perfect fit for their program, and how is it that you, by entering their company, how you will simultaneously like forward their vision and help them with their goals, but also as an individual develop yourself and your own personal goals and improve yourself, and how you will be a happy employee of that company, basically, right? So if you think about it like that, like the rest of your application will be so easy to write. I just felt like that really hit home for me, and I advise you to watch his video because he has a lot of other good advice there too. So with that in mind, I just want to talk about the letter of recommendations first before I get into anything else. Because this is something that you should definitely start with in like literally the next week. Week, because like theoretically you should give them at least like minimum 2 weeks notice. Ideally like a month ahead. I really advise you to get on that like ASAP. If you're applying as someone straight out of university for like CIR positions specifically, I really advise you to choose a professor who either because you have to have some sort of Japanese language ability, right? So I would advise you to choose like your language professor, your Japanese language professor, because they are the ones who are really able to vouch for your ability and your like enthusiasm in learning the language and learning about the culture and stuff like that. Or if you took a lot of like Japanese related classes like Japan studies or history or culture or any courses like that, those are also really good choices as professors to ask for a letter of recommendation from, because same as before, like they're the ones who can really vouch for like how hard you work in a course that you supposedly should be really interested about as a CIR. And so I really advise someone who is knowledgeable about your knowledge of Japan. So that's one. I think you need another one, right? There's two. If you're still in college and you have the resources to ask another professor, so if both of them are from the Japanese related like departments, then I think like, yeah, go for it. I think that's like your best shot. But let's see, in my situation, I was applying 1 year after I graduated from university, so I was already working at that point. I think if I went back and asked my professors who had taught me, like my Japanese language teachers, they would have given me my recommendation if I just asked them. I think they still like remember me and stuff like that, so that wouldn't have been an issue for me. But I think at that point my reasoning, my thought process was I wanted to be able to show on my application my work ethic, you know, like outside of school, because that was my current position. I was an employee of a non-profit organization, and we did a lot of like economic development related things between Canada and the US. And I thought it was just a really good experience to be able to put on my application. Like, here is something that I'm doing, and here are the skills that I've learned in the past year that I would be able to bring on to this JET program as a CIR. And the fact that that was my current focus, my current position, and it was very recent, like up-to-date recommendation. Also, like, work ethic, because I guess, like, technically your professors would be able to vouch for you as well, like your work ethic and like your timeliness and just all of that. But it is a little different, I think, to have a recommendation from an employer, because it's like a different level of professionalism that you have to learn or be able to show during work, and just like maybe confidence and how adaptable you are to different situations, because like professors don't really see that, right? Like, basically it was just like a really good way to show on my application a different facet of my capabilities. And that's just my 2 cents. If you don't have any work experience, I think that's totally fine. Just ask your professor who you feel like you have a working and a strong relationship with, and I think you'll be golden. Oh, but I did want to mention that, say like whoever you end up asking for your letter of recommendation, and so you have to ask them, like, would you be willing to write me one? And if they say yes, the most important thing is like the follow-up. And because they've already like agreed, like, yeah, sure, I'll take out like time in my day to sit down and think about like you as a student, out of all the other like billion students they've had, like they're gonna write you a letter and like praise you and make you look good. Like, you better really follow up on with that and make things as easy as possible for them to write you the best letter that they can write. And I mean like emailing them saying like, hey, thanks for agreeing to write this letter for me. Here are all the details. Give them the deadline for the whole application. Give them a deadline for when the letter of recommendation should be in. If there's a portal, I don't remember how they actually turn in the recommendations, but if there's a portal that they need to like submit online, give them all that information. Like, type out the website, just list it out step by step. Like, this is what you have to do, 1, 2, and 3. Most importantly, give them like a short summary of the program in general. Just type it out, lay it all out for them. Like, digital program does this, this, and this, and my goals in the JET program are this, this, and this. It's basically like a mini statement of purpose, right? Like, tell them what you're applying for, why you want to specifically apply for it, what your skills are and how that'll match what the program is doing, and give them like a list of your extracurricular activities. They only see a little part of you, so just give them as much information as you can to help them, you know, like help them out. This is your personal statement, so just help them make you look good, you know. Okay, so enough ranting about that. Okay, on to like the biggest thing, the most important part, I think, about what you should really take into mind and consider for applying as a CIR. Are you willing to be an ALT in the off chance that like you don't make it as a CIR? So I'm sure most of you are aware that if you apply for the CIR position, like the bottom of the screen, there's like a little box that says, like, are you willing to be put into the ALT position if you're not accepted as a CIR? And that is like a big point to consider, because I think that like decision will change effectively the entire rest of your application. Your statement of purpose, mainly your statement of purpose, I guess, but also like your job experience and stuff like that. So first of all, I don't think there's a right or wrong whether or not you check the box. I think it's just purely like a matter of personal preference. I'm not like sure, because I'm not I'm not in the position of hiring people, but I personally don't think they'll take it against you if you say like, nope, if I'm not accepted as a CIR, then that's that. Like, I don't think they will count that as a negative towards your application. But just regardless of what your decision is, like, you have to have a good answer for it, and you really have to be able to defend your answer. And defend as in, like, when they interview you, 500% sure they are going to ask you, like, why are you willing to be an ALT if you're not accepted as a CIR? Or why are you only willing to be a CIR, right? Like, regardless, they're gonna ask you, like, you can be sure of it. So just be ready, have a good answer. So personally, I checked off the box that I wanted to be an ALT. Internally, I was honestly like, I don't want to be a teacher. Like, I don't think I have it in me and like enough energy to be around children, and I really wanted to be able to use all the things that I learned up until this point, like my Japanese and all of that. But then I reasoned with myself, like, you know, like, regardless of the position that I'm in for my work, there are other ways to be able to like impact my community, and that was my decision, right? And so throughout the whole entire rest of the application, my job experience, volunteer experience. So because I was still like, yeah, I'd be willing to go as an ALT, I still put in my volunteering that I'd done with exchange students from Japan, and I helped them like do English conversation practice and teach middle school children English and just get them engaged and excited about it. So we like planned activities, while I made sure to like every experience I had related to Japanese and Japanese culture and everything that I'd learned. But I also, because I checked off the box, like, I want to be an ALT if the CIR doesn't work out, I also included, you know, my experience teaching, because I felt like that was very important, that for them to see like I'm a diverse person. I've taught at different age levels. I'm actually, you know, passionate about teaching people and learning about other cultures, because I did this in my free time as a volunteer. And I'm not just saying that I want to be an ALT because I just want to go to Japan. So basically, like, if you check the box for the ALT thing, you would have to make sure that you'd be just as proficient as a CIR as you would be an ALT. So that was something I made sure to really include. And finally, let's talk about the statement of purpose. So I think personally I wrote mine to sort of reflect my passion and my abilities that would really be able to work in either position, which I think is really important, because you don't want to focus too much on either. You just have to be able to convince them that you are a well-rounded applicant, and whether or not, I mean, like, whichever position they end up putting you in, you'd be able to adapt, right? Like, that's the most important part about the JET program, I think, is just being able to adapt really well. So that is all really I have right now. Again, like, if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. I don't know if that was helpful at all, but yeah, that's pretty much just my thought process on applying for the JET program as a CIR who checked off the box for being an ALT in the off chance that I didn't make the CIR position. And yeah, that's all. Good luck. There's about a month or so left. You can do it. Hang in there. Take care of yourself. Write down all your deadlines. Make sure you've got everything in order. Really make sure you're super organized in this period of time, because you don't want to miss anything small or random or make a mistake that would just put your application at risk. So yeah, I wish the best of luck to all of you, and I'll be back again soon with another video. And if you guys want to know more about like the interview process for the CIR, let me know too. Yeah, good luck. See you.